Welcome to Module 1, Introduction to YouCreate, Arts-Based Participatory Action Research with Youth. This module was developed by the International Institute for Child Rights and Development and Terre des Hommes. This is the first module in the series Arts-Based Participatory Action Research with Youth. This module will support you to explore the concept of meaningful youth participation and how we may work with young people to support their meaningful participation. Reflect on our own attitudes and behaviors when working with young people and think through the attitudes and behaviors that we may encourage in young people. Explore challenges that we might face in participatory projects with young people and possibilities for improving our supports to youth. Explore the use of art and creativity to support young people's well-being. Introduce the concept of participatory action research, which we refer to by the acronym PAR, pronounced PAR. This will include the guiding principles of PAR and the 5 phases of YouCreate PAR: map, explore, plan, art action, reflect and share, and how these are adapted in contexts, and finally, understand the well-being pillars. Before you get started, it will be helpful for you to have 3 main YouCreate resources on hand. First, the YouCreate Art Kit, which is designed for youth leaders to lead activities with youth participants. Second, the YouCreate Project Guide, which contains guidance for the project manager, project officers, trainers, adult allies, and monitoring, evaluation, and learning specialists on how to implement YouCreate based on lessons learned from the pilot that took place in Egypt and Iraq in 2018-2019. And third, the YouCreate Report, which includes key learnings and recommendations from the pilot project. We have gathered an amazing cast of youth who participated in the YouCreate pilot to help tell the story of YouCreate through these e-modules. On the screen, you can see the photos of each youth and the role they are playing in the e-modules. A huge thanks to these amazing young people for their passion and dedication. Quality participation can be consultation, collaboration, or child or youth-led, depending on the initiative or project. The highest level of participation is usually either child or youth-led or collaborations where young people and adults are working together in partnership. Meaningful participation needs to integrate several elements. Space. Children must be given space to express their views. Voice. Children must be enabled to express a view. Audience. When children express themselves, others must listen. Influence. When children express their views, they must be supported to take action. There are some important principles of participation that are useful to consider when you are planning or organizing a project. Young people's participation is voluntary for all participants. It is free of any coercion or without any force. Transparent and informative. The information about the project should be free for all to see and access at any time. Respectful. Everyone involved must respect and appreciate others. Relevant to the context and to the specific populations you are working with. Factors such as gender, background, and language need to be considered. Child and youth-friendly. It is not only the project activities that should be age-appropriate and fun, but as much as possible, planning processes and monitoring and evaluation processes should be designed to engage young people. Facilitative. Where possible, activities should facilitate collaborative and team processes rather than prescribing what should be done. And finally, participatory processes should be dynamic and fun. From here on, in these 6 modules, we will be using the terms young people and youth to broadly refer to children and youth aged 15 years and above. However, many of the recommendations will also apply to younger children as well. Participatory Action Research, or PAR, is one way to foster meaningful participation of children and youth and will be explored in these modules. Let's talk a bit about what roles adults can play to support youth. Starting with the basics, let's think of how we present ourselves, setting up the space. It's important to be at the same physical level as young people, so sitting together or standing together in a circle is much better than standing in front of a group of seated youth. Language and tone. A great way to support young people to feel comfortable is to speak about your ideas in a way that is accessible and clear for them. Body language. When young people are leading or facilitating, try not to be distracted. Watch carefully and provide feedback through eye contact and nodding. One of our goals is to encourage youth to share their thoughts and ideas. How can we do this most effectively? There is no one better to talk to than the youth themselves. Youth are the experts on their own lives. Asking lots of open-ended questions is a great way to demonstrate your interest. And being honest about your own role is an important part of building trust. And finally, you don't need to have all the answers. Youth have amazing, wise, innovative ideas. We need to create space to listen and open the door for them to share. Reflection time. Let's reflect on our practices and learn from our strengths and barriers. Let's start with the strength. What is your team doing well? What are the strengths of your team in meaningful child and youth participation that you would like to share with other teams in your organization? Secondly, what barriers of your team need to be addressed in order to increase meaningful participation in your programs? Now, you may pause your video for a moment to write a short paragraph on your strengths and one paragraph on your team's barriers to fostering youth's meaningful participation. Remember the 4 quadrants: space, voice, audience, and influence. And consider if your strength is consultative, collaborative, or child-led. Please pause now and restart your video when you have completed the task. What are some strategies to address barriers to meaningful participation? Please choose one of the barriers you reflected on in the previous activity and write down a plan for how you can address this. When you are looking at your strategies, please consider what steps do you need to take? Who can support you? How will you ensure you are successful? So let's talk a bit more about what is involved in participatory action research. Participatory action research, PAR, is a process where the researchers and the people who are participating in the research work together to understand the world around them and then plan and implement activities that promote positive social change. YouCreate is a PAR process that also uses the arts for expression and change. This is a reflective process, and in YouCreate PAR, it is the youth who are both the researchers and the participants. Through YouCreate PAR, youth have time to think about their daily life and that of their peers, their community, and then create positive change they want to see. Let's take a look at this cyclical process for the YouCreate PAR that uses the arts to improve well-being of youth facing displacement or adversity. In MAP, youth leaders and their adult allies use tailored activities to map out a baseline for their project, to set out rules, and to create a vision. In the Explore phase, youth leaders lead beneficiaries through a series of activities to explore the challenges that they are facing and involve their communities. In Plan, youth leaders guide beneficiaries to confirm and adjust the findings. They select a specific challenge to address, analyze root causes, and develop a project to address it. In the Art Action phase, youth implement, monitor, and evaluate their projects with the support of youth leaders and adult allies. Finally, in Reflect and Share, youth leaders guide participants to reflect on any changes that have occurred as a result of their projects and celebrate success. This is a cyclical process, and once youth have completed step 5, they can begin again. as each time they do this process, they will come up with new and exciting arts action projects to share with their community and the world. Arts-based methods are commonly employed in participatory research, particularly with children and youth. Arts-based approaches are fun and engaging, and also have the potential to lead to healing and social transformation. There is a lot of current research that speaks to the benefits of the arts for well-being and mental health. YouCreate is an opportunity for youth to carry out arts-based projects in order to address challenges in their communities and to create positive social change. In YouCreate, the progress of the project is monitored by assessing well-being in 5 areas. These areas are referred to as pillars and are important to all people, including youth. The first pillar, Pillar 1, is feeling safe. It is important that youth feel safe both physically and emotionally. Pillar 2, feeling connected. Youth need to feel connected to supportive people and groups in their communities in order to feel well. Pillar 3, feeling worthy. This pillar highlights the roles, responsibilities, and identities that reflect who we are, where we come from, and what we do or what we would like to do. Pillar 4, feeling respected. Feeling respected with the ability to address injustice in our lives and access to our rights. Pillar 5, feeling hopeful. Feeling hopeful about the future with a zest for life. While we don't expect YouCreate to make great improvements in every pillar over a short period of time, we do anticipate change. This change occurring along some of these pillars in significant ways. For example, in Egypt and Iraq, participating in YouCreate helped youth to feel hopeful about their futures and to feel more respected and connected to each other and to their communities. As one young leader in Egypt said, young people face problems and YouCreate sheds a light and helps us to get together and address the challenges at the head and learn how to express our opinions. YouCreate was piloted in both emergency and development contexts, where the team was able to learn what worked best in each setting. 3 months emerged as the right amount of time for youth to be actively and meaningfully engaged without it impeding on their other commitments at school, work, and with their families. Both teams in development and emergency settings recommended the 3-month model as ideal. Through recognizing that in cases where regular travel is not an option, security concerns are high, or where they may have to relocate at any time, a 1-week option might be best. Though this is a short time frame to create lasting change in the various dimensions of well-being, the pilot proved that the significant areas of well-being were positively and deeply impacted. It will be up to your project team to determine the best time format for YouCreate. The activities you will learn in the upcoming modules will guide you through implementing YouCreate, whether this be over 3 months, 1 week, or other time frames. Consult with your local team and youth themselves to find the best fit for young people to develop new skills, enhance well-being, and thrive. Child and youth participation isn't just a strategy or one-off. It needs to be a mindset, an ideology, a value, and a life philosophy that applies to everything that child-centered organizations do. Remember, we are not seeking to empower youth, as they already have their own power, strength, and abilities and do not need for adults to hand them power. We are creating spaces for young people to empower themselves and removing barriers for them to do so. Let's work together to make this happen. Congratulations! You have just completed the introduction to YouCreate.